William Hill sponsors Joshua vs Parker live on Sky Sports Box Office.
That's how boxing should be.
KUGAN, CASSIUS, IFL TV in association with MTK Global. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning. Is it?
Yes.
So, I've absolutely pestered you to come into my room, but for...
Drag me out my bed.
Basically, yeah. But you look well for 4 o'clock in the morning. Impressive performance from Josh Kelly tonight against former world champion Carlos Molina. You must have been pleased with that. Seen the controlled performance.
Yeah, I am, and definitely the type of fight that he can take the next steps from. So I'm really pleased with him. Really pleased with him.
And Ryan Burnett obviously retaining his world title. I'm not even going to go into the name. Parejo. How did you assess his performance?
Very good. He broke his hand in the third round.
Yeah.
Which was a shame because he troubled him with it a few times. Actually, well, he told me about the hand in the fifth round, but he said it went in the third round. And he wobbled him a few times when he landed the right hand, but he had to stop throwing it properly. Had to adjust his game plan, and I thought he did really well. I mean, he showed another part to his game. Had to overcome, yet again, something else. And he did it, I thought, with a lot of maturity, and I'm really pleased with him.
Any indication of how long he may be out of action for?
Well, if it's a fractured metacarpal, then you know that he can't really start punching with it for 4 to 6 weeks, so he'll probably box again after the summer.
Joshua Parker, perhaps not the spectacle we were hoping for. What did you think of the fight? Did you think it was a poor fight in general or not?
No, I mean, they were both very cautious behind their jabs, not wanting to make mistakes. I thought the referee was terrible. I think if he'd there was a few times in the fight, and it started quite early as well, where the two of them went at it like a couple of alley cats. They got close and they just both started wildly, and when I say wildly, not recklessly, but like alley cats sort of trading with each other. And the referee just kept stopping them while they were doing it, just because an arm might get tangled at the same time or one might fall into the other. He just kept stopping it. And then they'd go back to jabbing and counter-jabbing, which was, it was a little bit sterile in terms of a fight because it was more of a boxing contest. But they were both prepared to stand and trade, and the referee just kept stopping it every time they did. And that was a real shame, because I do think the pair of them were prepared to do it, but each time they did, they weren't even clenching. It sort of got into a half tangle. The referee stopped it, and then the pattern of the fight just got to the point where they'd go close and then kind of not do anything because they were waiting for the referee to stop it. And the referee was giving some terrible signals as well, to mixed messages and half commands that you could see the fighters looking at him thinking, well, what does that mean? And that was a real shame for such a grand spectacle.
The first time Joshua had gone 12 rounds, the first time he'd failed to stop an opponent. What did we learn about Anthony Joshua tonight?
Don't know really. I don't know if we learned anything that we didn't already know. What we learned about Joseph Parker is that he knows how to look after himself. I think he's still got a lot of development to do. I think the fight was probably a bit too early for him. He knew how to nullify the dangerous attacks that Joshua put on him, but he just didn't quite have it in him to close the ground on the bigger man, and because every time he threatened to go forward, it was a little bit obvious, and Joshua would just breeze off, a little bit like Klitschko with the left hand coasted out, and it looked like it was. They were both a little bit wary of each other, but I'd say that Parker was a little bit more wary.
If you're Deontay Wilder watching that at home, which he obviously was, what are you thinking based on that performance tonight?
How much louder can you scream Bomb Squad, probably?
No, but a few people like Carl Froch and others saying that Wilder won't be concerned about Joshua based on that performance tonight?
I think it should be. They should both be concerned about each other because both of them have got the ability to put the other one over. And it is the best for me. It's the best fight in the heavyweight division by a long way.
I mean, he was obviously vocal in his post-fight interview, saying he was going to knock Deontay Wilder's spark out. But there seems to be a lot of work to whether that fight can happen this year or not between the two teams.
It's the business, right? I mean, they're making a lot of noise. But as a boxing fan, it'd be nice to see because you'd have all the belts in one place. And to achieve it, you'd end up with, I think, a really exciting fight. As long as you get the right referee. Don't get that same. I reckon that ref could even turn this fight into a jab fest and not allow him to trade shots too much.
Just finally, a very disappointing night for David Price. Suffered a knockout defeat to Alexander Povetkin. But David had his moments in that fight.
I feel for him. Like, so there was the round when Pricey got dropped and sort of banged the canvas. And then by the end of the round, he dropped Povetkin because effectively the ropes held him up. Right?
Yeah.
And I remember in the next round, Povetkin kind of just ran out of ideas with his attack, and it looked like Pricey had it. It really, I remember looking at him thinking he's got this now. And the next thing, made a mistake.
Hi guys.
Go on.
Sorry about that.
And I feel for him, I really do, because he looked more comfortable in there tonight, probably against one of the best fights he's ever fought. He looked more comfortable than he ever had done. But it's heavyweight boxing. You get hit by a big shot, and it can change it in an instant.
Well, he was obviously up on his feet, and we just saw him downstairs there, actually, so we saw in the morning, but thankfully he's all right.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't beat himself up too much about this one because I thought he entertained and he impressed, and he hurt Povetkin on more than one occasion, and he should just, it's going to be hard for him, but he should look at it and think, well, I could have won that. And a little bit like Klitschko Joshua last year, he had the fight in his grasp, and then it slipped away.
Adam, thank you very much for getting out of bed, getting dressed. Or actually, you're
half
dressed.
I was just on my way to bed, so don't hammer out too much.
I was going to make out that you're actually half dressed, just put a top on, sitting there in your pants.
And that would just be more weird than him walking in on it. Good night,
James
boys.
Sorry about that, by the way.
Adam Booth, thank you very much for I4 TV. We'll catch up with you soon.
Okay.
All right.
That's how boxing should be.
William Hill sponsors Joshua vs Barker live on Sky Sports Box Office.